thought it was the dancing.
Yeah,
It's this.
Here again. So he goes to prison because he's going to prison. Very shocking news. Kyren Lacey is wanted for charges of neglect, homicide, felony hit and run. Yeah, the standout wide receiver for the LSU Tigers is wanted. So today we're going to talk about these charges. We're going to go over the actual article as well and do a little bit of foreshadowing. We have Brian Kelly's head coach. We're going to hear him talk about Kyren Lacey and his character, right? But most importantly, I just think it's so funny how certain cultures and certain coaches get called out for cultures, right? Kirby Smart has had 17 Hellcats impounded in Athens County Jail, but no one questions his culture. Brian Kelly now has a wide receiver wanted for neglect and homicide. And also, if we have time in this video, we have an Oregon recruit and transfer who is wanted for a pistol whipping as well. So I don't know, man. We all talk about certain coaches. I'm not gonna say no names. Y'all will in the comments. When y'all talk crazy about certain coaches and not about other, it's crazy when crazy things are happening right here. So let's start off first off with Brian Kelly kind of talk about Kyren Lacey.
Kyren's working on his emotional control. If you were here, that young man, I love him because he's working on that every day. That wasn't like malice. That wasn't like it. It's just, he is such a high, strong young man that's all he works on. He's in the locker room saying, I need to maintain my emotional control. I need to maintain it. He is working so hard on that. That's why I was so angry. I was angry at the circumstances because he's working on it. The Kyren Lacey paper.
To get a little bit sadder, just to get a little more graphic, the person who did pass away sadly after the wreck caused by the hit and run from Kyren Lacey was a Marine. So there were also 2 other people's injured as well. So let's get down to the nitty and the gritty. This is the actual article. As you see, like we talked about, standout Kyren Lacey was hit for a charge for a hit and run, out on felony charges currently. Lacey is wanted on charges of neglect homicide, like we talked about, felony hit and run, following December 17, 2024's traffic crash that passed away a former Marine and injured 2 others, Louisiana State Police said. Louisiana State Police say they're in communication with Lacey and legal representation to turn himself in. So at least the good thing here from a, I guess mature standpoint is that they're already in contact with what's called Kyren Lacey. So this isn't something where he's like eluding them. It's more of a thing that they're getting things in order so he can turn himself in and hopefully get things figured out. So after allegedly causing the crash, investigators allege Lacey sped from the scene and did not report his involvement to police. Lacey, 24, native of Thibodaux, Louisiana, is also wanted on a charge of reckless operation of a vehicle, documents show. So, Louisiana State Police allege Lacey was driving a 2023 Dodge Charger south on LA Highway 20 and recklessly passed multiple vehicles at a high rate of speed by crossing the center lines and entering the northbound lane while in a designated no passing zone. That boy was cutting up and it ended extremely terribly. The former LSU wide receiver declared for the NFL draft just 2 days after the crash, like we alluded to right here, declaring for the draft 2 days after a hit and it's pretty crazy, man. It's pretty crazy, but hey, he did what he had to do. I guess he was focused on his money at that point, and since he ran, I think he just thought that nobody was going to catch him and he could just hop into the draft and get off scot-free. So a Louisiana State Police document contains the following allegations about the incident. As Lacey was illegally passing the other vehicles, the driver of a northbound lane pickup truck abruptly braked and swerved to the right to avoid a head-on collision with the approaching Dodge. Traveling behind the pickup truck was a Kia Cadenza, whose driver swerved left to avoid the oncoming Dodge Charger. As the Kia Cadenza took evasive action to avoid impact with the Dodge, it crossed the center line and collided head-on with a southbound Kia Sorento. Following the crash, Lacey drove around the crash scene and fled south on LA Highway 20 without stopping to render aid, call emergency services, or report his involvement in the crash. Now, there can be a lot to say, and I really hope this isn't the reason he didn't do it is because there was alcohol, because that just makes this even 10 times more insidious. But it's already pretty great. I didn't want to make this a video about me talking badly about a young black dude who made a mistake, but this isn't a young black dude that made a mistake. This is not what that is. This is a young black dude who made a mistake and then dumbly did nothing to help anybody, right? And we're gonna get deeper into this, but now that I hear this, right, I want it to be in, and I'm hoping maybe I get corrected within this article, or maybe not. It's just not that deep, but from the small parts that I was reading about this, the Marine who passed, he was alive after the crash. So he was after the crash, and then he didn't pass until getting to the hospital, right? So if we're talking about milliseconds, not milliseconds, but just time needed, I can only imagine. Again, I hope I'm miscorrected after I read all the rest of this article, but I'm really hoping that him passing wasn't about the time that Kyren Lacey could have just got on the police and said, hey, yo, even if you hit and run, hey, somebody crashed, I gotta go. Even that, I get, hey, that's coward, you're scared, whatever, but you're still showing remorse for humans that from your mindset, at least three humans just got affected, and you can't even call the cops. There's nothing redeemable I can say about that. I'm really hoping it wasn't because of alcohol. I'm hoping he's just an idiot and a terrible person. Because if he was also drunk, he would be an idiot, a terrible person, and also probably never gonna leave jail. So, let me just keep reading. I apologize. So, without stopping, render aid, call emergency services, reports of the crash. A passenger in the Kia Sorento, Herman Hall of Thibodeau, was critically injured in the 10 a.m. crash and transported to a hospital where he later, investigators said Hall, age 78, was a former Marine, Louisiana State Police, and LSP detective. Troopers were able to determine that Lacey was driving the Dodge Charger at the time. In LSU's most recent season, Lacey led the Tigers in receiving touchdowns and was a second on the team in catches, 58, receiving yards, 866. And it's really sad to me because a lot of people, oftentimes these are situations where it's a mistake and a kid was just being a little dumb, right? A kid was just being dumb, right? And we all know him from these funny little, what's it called? These funny little celebrations. And it's cool. It's just a celebration, dog. Like, I don't think anyone's taking it that deep. But the fact that people can go back and look at this stuff and try to paint him in some other way. Look, he's not some, from what I can see, he's not some toting, strap having, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say the actual G word because I don't know how YouTube is. Again, we talk about sports over here. So he's not really over here King Vonning anybody, right? I don't think that's what Lacey's about. From all the accounts, I don't think that's what it is. I think he's a dumb kid who's now a dumb man. I can't call him kid. He's 24. He's a dumb man who made a really dumb decision. But we're allowed to make dumb decisions in life, right? It's different if you make a dumb decision with your car and you do something stupid, you do something dumb. But hey, I called the cops. Hey, I XYZ. I did what I need to do. The fact that you ran and did that, it doesn't just make it bad for an honor standpoint. Oh, why did you don't want to face them? Nah, forget that. Put that to the side. Forget the honor standpoint. It's bad because you couldn't just call the cops for the humans' lives that you just changed forever. All three of those humans, I think it's just three humans, there are three people. Sorry, there was a passenger too. So at least 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4, right? At least 4 people's lives who you just changed forever. I don't care if you pass. If you get into a car wreck, that's a major thing, especially a major enough to have injuries because the other 2 people were injured. Like that's you changed people's lives and didn't have a chance to even call the cops and allow for it to be at least alleviated a little quicker, right? I don't care about turning yourself in. People get scared, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But not even looking out for other humans is where we kind of we're passing the whole NFL prospect thing to just a terrible guy. You're not a mistake person. You're just a terrible guy. So let's talk about it because like I talked about at the beginning of this video, and we're not going to be able to get to the plum. We'll have this be a separate video. Just that craziness is even crazier. So it'll be a separate video. I want to close off on this. Like I talked about, and I alluded to, this was, guess what? This was this game right here. He was flagged for taunting this whole thing, and LSU goes on to lose to an USC team who had like 7 losses, 6 losses on the season. Absolutely abysmal, right? So shout out to Brian Kelly for being a terrible coach. And this is the type of coach, and I'm not saying Brian Kelly is the reason Kyren Lacey is like this or did this. I'm saying that when you're a head coach and you're a leader of men, your leadership is the reflection of the people that you draft, the people that you put in, not draft, but people that you add in transfer portal, the people that you recruit, the people that you bring into the building are the reflection of what you done, right? The work that you put in and whatever else that you want for your standards to be. So let's see what the standards for Brian Kelly are, okay? Let's check it out.
Coach? Yeah, I think it's the first time since I've been here that I'm pretty angry at our football team. And
Coach, is it disappointing when you have, Savion Jones kind of really rose up, Aaron Anderson, John Emery, they kind of put you in position? Is it disappointing when those guys perform and you don't get a victory?
Hell yes. Hell yes. I mean, and that's what I said to the team. I said, we had some guys played their butts off tonight, and we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things, about not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better, because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous. And it's crazy.
A little too much country music. Yeah, so that was painful. He said, I'm not going to stand for it. Okay, that was awful. That was terrible. Brian Kelly is just a big act. And the act is very bad. The act doesn't fit. And the act, I don't think, is really good at being able to lead men. Maybe he's a good coordinator. I forgot Brian Kelly's history, whether it's offense, defense. But some people can coach football and they can do X's and O's. And I think Brian Kelly is that type of person, because this whole giving real, meaningful leadership can't be done when you just try to flip a switch and do a fake rally cry. I'm so mad. God dang it. I just don't. You do fake, you try to do the fake Louisiana accent. You try to do fake mad stuff. Now you got your all-star wide receiver that you should have sent to the draft doing crazy stuff. Again, this isn't Brian Kelly's fault, but Brian Kelly is definitely a reflection of what's going on in LSU right now, and it's a lot of silliness. And matter of fact, he's the leading receiver for LSU with 9 receiving touchdowns. I don't mean to discredit him or discredit what was going on, but what is he? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th. So he's a top 15, 13-ish, ranked. He was going to be a day 3, day 4 type of guy. This was, and I mean, I feel a lot less bad about it now that I heard that he can't even, call the cops for anybody. He can't even call 911 for people that he critically injures. The dude, I mean, he might have not got drafted. He already had character problems. You think this doesn't add a whole new level of character issues that he's not going to be able to escape? It's over for Kyren Lacey. A lot of times there's some issues. Like I said, I keep alluding to, this is not one of those situations where, hey man, this is bad, XYZ, but hey, he's young and he can figure it out. I think he's young and he's figured out. He'll be able to figure out his life, and I'm hoping that after he goes to jail, after he goes to prison, because he's going to prison, because that's involuntary homicide or however neglect, that they're calling it neglect homicide. They're not calling it manslaughter. For y'all people who aren't familiar, just in general, everybody's not familiar with the American legal system, right? Homicide and manslaughter, that's a very distinct distinction, if you will, right? Manslaughter is someone just passed. You were a part of having someone pass. Homicide is, you know what I'm saying? You was out there with sticks and blicks and schnicks. So I think this is warranted, and I think he should get every single. I'm sorry, you had the opportunity to say I messed up and at least I called, but you didn't even do that. You didn't have the decency to do that. You didn't care about other people's lives to do that. So just a crazy scene, a sad scene that someone had to lose their life. 2 other people had to be injured, lose their cars, have effects with their cars. Like, people just talk about obviously the life that gets lost, and please to talk about the Marine, and because that's a big life. But I think we sometimes just talk about, all right, deaths, XYZ, but it's like also, there were other people whose lives, they might be in physical therapy for the rest of their life. They might have issues. They might have neck problems. They might have PTSD from that. That is a real thing that happens. It's a scary scene. So, very, very awful situation, man. I just really hope y'all be blessed. Y'all be great. Start this new year awesome, and just make great decisions, man.